Hello, Internet. I'm Jack Trevin, and I don't have a catchphrase. So this is my first vlog, so I may be a little bit off or maybe a little bit different from any subsequent videos I post on this channel. But so I wanted to do, just to start out, a first impressions of the Xbox One reveal. So I guess most of you don't know, the viewers here don't know me yet, so you don't know. My background when it comes to gaming, I started, my first video game console was the PlayStation 2. My parents were not into a lot of the new expensive entertainment stuff, so for them that was a big deal getting the PS2. We went to the Toys R Us and we pick it up. My mom didn't seem to be very happy with getting it. And I think I got it because my cousin was into games. Actually, sorry, no, it was a PS1. We had a PS1. And my cousin, Phil, his son, Mike, had Twisted Metal. We used to play Twisted Metal together, and then I wanted the PlayStation because I wanted to play Twisted Metal. So anyhow, after that, in 2004, I got into PC gaming. It was really weird. I was like, I guess I would have been 13 years old, and I built my first gaming machine, which, by the way, to this day, the hard drives that made up the RAID set in that gaming machine still use them. They're 8 years old, they run fine. 300 gigs a pop, SATA. Anyway, when I stopped doing a lot of the PC gaming because my computer got old, and I got an Xbox 360, and I got into 360 gaming, I was very disenthused with what the offerings were from Nintendo and Sony in that generation. The PS4 was wicked expensive, and it didn't seem to have very many games that were all that attractive. Especially, I think the thing that sort of sold me, because the PlayStation, where the Xbox One was the Halo box, the PlayStation 2 was the Grand Theft Auto box. Like, that was the game that everybody had. Was like GTA 3 and then GTA San Andreas. And Vice City and whatnot, and then Saints Row came out for the Xbox. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, like now I've got a GTA clone that I can play, and it won't and then they can't come out with play GTA 4 on the Xbox 360. I'm like, oh, that's the final nail in the coffin for the PS3 in this generation, because now they don't have any like killer app that you have to have the PS3 to play. And I feel like in the real gaming community, the Xbox 360 really did win that generation. The Wii had a lot more sales, but remember, the Wii is selling sort of to a different audience. Not to say that the people who are into Wii games aren't like real gamers or anything like that, but just like the traditional gaming market, I feel like was not served by the Wii. Anyway. So that sort of brings... now I'm back into PC gaming. And I'm back into PC gaming basically because my Xbox 360 got old and because I have a lot of computers and I might as well. This is... Over here is my my desktop machine, which presently is reinstalling everything because I just got the graphics card that could drive 3 monitors, and in the process of trying to get the Linux drivers for it, I somehow borked my installation of Mint, so I'm now I just reinstalled Mint, and now I'm putting on I have a script that I run that just installs all the stuff I'm going to use, like Google Chrome and the Netflix app and that and whatnot, and so it's not iFinity. It can only play games on the one middle monitor, but it's really nice for just work and for other stuff to have the two on the side. I found that this monitor was excess, and I found it and I hooked it up. But anyhow, so first impressions of Xbox One. A lot of people were not very pleased with what they saw. A lot of the anger, it seems to me, in actually looking into the comments on Reddit, looking into what's really going on, it seems like a lot of people are upset that there wasn't much talk about games at this reveal conference, and I think that's kind of unsurprising because they very explicitly said that this is not... We're going to talk about the games at E3. This conference is just for the investors, or they didn't say investors, but it seemed like it was for investors. And just to say, this is the other stuff that's going to come bundled with this machine. But I also think there's a lot of anger over the name because this is let's be honest, this is a dumb name. Calling the thing the Xbox One is a dumb decision. I've had some people try to defend it to me and argue that it's not going to cause confusion, and in the end, it won't matter because. Yeah, I'll admit that eventually people get used to these weird names. Like, remember when the iPad came out, there was a lot of people saying, well, I would say, though, iPad, I think, was a better choice of name. The obvious immature joke about menstruation, I think nobody really wanted to tell the joke because it was so stupid. And not to mention, I mean, they're called pads in Star Trek. In Star Trek, when like Cisco or Picard would be like, "Get this to me on a pad," and they hand him a pad that looked like an iPad. But in any case, that blew over eventually, and this will eventually blow over. I guarantee that this Christmas there's going to be some little kids out there who are getting iPads, who are getting Xbox Ones off of eBay, and their parents accidentally bought Xbox Ones. If you have an original Xbox, this might be your chance. But no, that's going to blow over. The biggest issues for me, and the reason why I think I'm not going to buy the system, and I don't want to, I don't like a lot of the speculation. I think there's too much speculation of the form of, like, people going online saying that, what's going to happen. Like, I saw this in a Cracked article, the point was made that since it's all voice and motion activated, you'd be sitting there like you sit down with your buddies and you say, like, watch Doctor Who, and it switches on Doctor Who and you start watching Doctor Who, and then in the middle of it, one guy turns to the person next to him and says, "Hey, did you watch Game of Thrones last weekend?" And then it immediately starts playing Game of Thrones, and I think that there's not much to speculate on there because I feel like there's no way that they're not going to figure that out, right? Like, there's no way that they set up this, like, big fancy voice and motion activated system, and they're not going to either with the original release or through a patch somehow work around that problem. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time wondering about how that's going to turn out. I'm a lot more worried though about the fact that, so looking at this machine, first, the biggest issue, I think the most substantive issue that I've seen raised, is the fact that with the Xbox One, you are not going to be able to simply put it in a disc and play a game that was pre-owned or used anymore, because there's some sort of DRM. It's not exactly clear how the system is going to work. So, like, in the same vein, I don't want to go too far into speculation on that. But I have a feeling that ultimately what it's going to be is that if you buy a used game, you're going to have to pay a fee to Microsoft, which I think is bullshit, because that's not how any other product works. You buy a used car, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that when you buy a used piece of furniture. You don't have to do that when you buy a used DVD or anything else. That would be totally novel, the idea of having to pay the manufacturer of a product to buy the product used. That being said, if I was going to guess, there's probably going to be some way that you can go to your friend's house and bring a disc and play a game. With the Xbox One, so in case any of you don't know this, everything is going to be installed to the hard drive. Every game installed to the hard drive. The same way the Xbox 360 works, but now you don't have to insert the disc every time you play the game, which to me raises the question of why you even have a disc. Right? Like, it works perfectly well on Steam that I can buy a game and just download it from the internet. And I think that seems like it's what that seemed like what the 360 was sort of starting to move towards, and it seems like what this is starting to move towards, and I don't understand why that isn't the model anyway, because if what Microsoft is saying is, we don't like the used game market, we want to make money off of every single person who plays the game, I got news for you. On Steam, the company makes money off of every game. In fact, I found out recently, and this kind of annoys me, that if you install a free-to-play game like Star Trek Online on two machines, because I have an Alienware laptop, and my buddy and I were trying to play Star Trek Online. All his computer is packed up. He's moving out of town, so I was like, all right, I'll set you up on my Alienware. I'll play on my desktop machine, and then we can continue our campaign in Star Trek Online. And guess what? He can't play because you can't have the same Steam account running on two computers at the same time. And that Alienware laptop has my Steam account on it, and he can't even log into his own Star Trek Online account through it. That's completely ridiculous, and I think it's almost an argument against installing a free-to-play game from Steam. In fact, actually, no, it is an argument against installing a free-to-play game from Steam. But no, back to the subject at hand, that being the Xbox One. I imagine that maybe they'll have a thing where you can temporarily transfer the license for if you want to go play at a friend's house, but still, it doesn't sit right. But all this leads up to my one main big complaint about this system, and the thing that's leading me to say I don't want to buy it is super powerful gaming machine designed to be integrated with your cable box. It loads your cable boxes. It loads the cable box's TV guide. It can take voice commands to change channels and whatnot, and you use it to watch TV. 500 gigabyte hard drive, not a DVR. That's completely outlandish, and I know why that's the case. I think the case is that it was a heavy lift for Microsoft to convince Comcast and to convince Verizon that, or whatever other companies do cable in this country, Cox Communication in the South, to let them have a machine that connects to the set-top box and loads the TV guide information and all that, because Comcast wants you to rent their DVR, and their DVR costs, like a stupid. It's like renting a modem. It's the same. Like the rental modem, $7 a month, or you could just buy one and use it for like a year and it's already paid for itself. But the thing is, that's actually what I always sort of wanted. And I had DVRs when I was little. Like, my dad got into DVRs. He still uses them. It's really hard to buy those old DVRs now because like he always brags to me about how he keeps checking eBay and he's finding that the DVRs that he spent maybe like $80, $100 on in like 2005, today on eBay they're like $300 because they don't sell them anymore, and it's the only way to get a DVR where you don't have to pay the Comcast once a month just for the privilege of using it. But that I feel like that's just a massive oversight. I think that's like the breaking point for me is just the fact that you're trying to sell me a machine that is perfect to be a DVR and could have it really hopefully achieve the goal of integrating all my devices into one for a gaming platform, and yet it doesn't do that. And I think almost I'm sort of tempted to say, because I kind of wanted the Ubuntu TV if there ever is like a device that actually runs Ubuntu TV, because it's probably going to be nice and free where there's not like DVR hooked to everything. Because in fact this was not DVR, I meant a DRM. Like, you don't have to pay forever. You can just play like a video file off of your computer. The Xbox 360, by the way, does do that. Although I have found that the codec support is sincerely lacking. And very interestingly, the codec that the video format that seems to work pretty consistently on the Xbox 360 is MP4. The Apple file format for videos works really well on Microsoft's gaming system, and I don't quite get that, but that's also beside the point. Basically, what I'm saying is I think that what I want, or at least if I was gonna get into watching like cable television again, because I haven't done that in a while, I would sort of want a media center PC, like something that could stream Netflix, it could stream media from my desktop computer over the LAN, that sort of stuff. And I feel like they're almost there, right? Like that's what the Xbox One's supposed to be. Um, and they sort of failed. And also the games that they're announcing at launch includes a new Call of Duty game called Call of Duty Ghosts, and I haven't seen much on this game yet, but apparently you have an integrated dog on your squad now in Call of Duty, and it's Call of Duty Dog Edition. Yeah, I don't think that's producing a whole lot of fanfare or interest on the internet. Let's see, what else was there? There was a couple other things I wanted to mention about the Xbox One. There's also the always online issue, although that's not totally there yet because they're claiming the system isn't always online. As far as I can tell right now, what they're saying is going to happen is the system is always online, or is not always online, but a game can be, and a publisher has the right to release an Xbox One game that will be always online, which doesn't entirely sit right with me because I mean, and also it needs internet to turn on. It checks for internet once a day, and if it doesn't see internet, then you're screwed. Yeah, so altogether lukewarm reception for the Xbox One from a lot of the internet, and yet somehow something tells me that when this thing comes out, it's gonna be a hot item, and we're gonna see a lot of people buying it. But then again, I could say the same thing about the Transformers movies, right? Like you can't find a good review of a Transformers movie anywhere on the internet, and yet somehow they keep making a lot of money, and in spite of all the racist and sexist jokes and the time spent with nonsense human characters and even really shitty robot plots. And my biggest complaint about Transformers being we never see Starscream actually go and be Starscream and try to undermine Megatron. But yeah, mark my words, this thing's going to be a big seller. Who's going to be the winner in this generation of console wars is actually probably the most interesting question. And I think it's not going to be Nintendo this time, because last time Nintendo won because they came to the market with a system that was novel, it was easy for new people, and it was cheap as balls. $200, right, for the Nintendo Wii. And this time, their offering is already out. It's already there, and yet we're not hearing a lot of fanfare about it, right? Remember when the Nintendo Wii came out, everyone was like, it's going to take another year for the next gen console to come out, and the same thing for the Xbox 360 being the next offering that came out that generation. And yet, the big innovation for the Wii U is that now, instead of just having like a derpy little wand that you wave around to be a lightsaber or a sword, or there's a lot of sword things you can do with it, or a bowling ball or whatever. The next big thing is now you have this iPad thing that they're trying to force you to put stuff from the big screen onto this little screen. And I think the reception has been, and I agree with Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation, that it's like, why do I need this thing? Why does it make the game any better to have an extra screen that I put extra stuff onto that could have just been on that screen? And I've spent all this money on this like 40-inch flat screen television, and you're gonna make me put shit on this little iPad here. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Xbox One. This video is edging towards 20 minutes, so I think I'm gonna stop that there. And as always, this is Jack Travin from HellGallop.com, and see you next time.